You know, I offered to build a ballroom. I'm very good at building ballrooms. I build beautiful ballrooms. Going to build a beautiful, beautiful ballroom like I have at Mar-a-Lago. I offered to do it, and I never heard back. I offered to do it to the Biden administration. They just didn't know what to do. So I'm going to try and make the offer to myself, you know.
President Donald Trump announced that the new White House ballroom will be larger than first planned, with a space for 900 guests, nearly 40% more than the original 650-seat design. Trump said the ballroom will be top of the line and among the best in the world. The $200 million project aims to host foreign leaders and dignitaries without using outdoor tents. Trump said he will personally contribute to the cost, while private donors called patriots will also help fund it. Construction has already begun on the South Lawn, with trucks and crews actively working on the site. The new ballroom will replace part of the East Wing, historically used for the First Lady's offices, marking the biggest change to the White House exterior since 1942. Trump emphasized the importance of the space for future events
and sharing new details about the one he plans to build at the White House.
We are going to make and build a ballroom, which they've wanted for probably 100 years at the White House.
We're proud to announce that the construction of the new White House ballroom will begin. For 150 years, presidents, administrations, and White House staff have longed for a large event space on the White House complex that can hold substantially more guests than currently allowed. President Trump has expressed his commitment to solving this problem on behalf of future administrations and the American people. The White House is one of the most beautiful and historic buildings in the world, yet the White House is currently unable to host major functions, honoring world leaders in other countries without having to install a large and unsightly tent approximately 100 yards away from the main building's entrance. Before we get to questions, I do have one other announcement from the White House and from the President. We are proud to announce that the construction of the new White House ballroom will begin. For 150 years, presidents, administrations, and White House staff have longed for a large event space on the White House complex that can hold substantially more guests than currently allowed. President Trump has expressed his commitment to solving this problem on behalf of future administrations and the American people. The White House is one of the most beautiful and historic buildings in the world, yet the White House is currently unable to host major functions, honoring world leaders in other countries without having to install a large and unsightly tent approximately 100 yards away from the main building's entrance. The White House State Ballroom will be a much-needed and exquisite addition of approximately 90,000 total square feet of innately designed and carefully crafted space, with a seated capacity of 650 people, which is a significant increase from the 200-person seated capacity in the East Room of the White House. In recent weeks, President Trump has held several meetings with members of the White House staff, the National Park Service, the White House Military Office,
is there anything else?
and United States Secret Service.
I don't know if you've heard, amongst all of the noise and everything that's happening in the world, that Donald Trump is dead set on having a ballroom built in the White House. You know, a thing that everyone has never been asking for. It's going to cost an estimated $200 million, and it's going to happen. And I have, through my super secret sources that he completely made up, found the renderings of what Donald Trump wants that ballroom to look like right here. I think they're going to call it Donald Trump's Royal Caribbean pee-pee pit, and it's also going to be the place where he unloads the Epstein files, as well as other things he's inevitably going to unload inside that pit.
President Trump greeting supporters at an RNC fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago, showing us the main ballroom at his private club, and sharing new details about the one he plans to build at the White House.
We are going to make and build a ballroom, which they've wanted for probably 100 years at the White House, and it'll be a world-class, beautiful ballroom.
A ballroom that could cost millions of dollars. He says he will pay for it himself. You will fund it.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask the government for money. I'll fund it, and I'm sure we'll have some donations to it. But it's not an inexpensive thing. It'll cost a lot of money.
Have y'all seen all these leftists going crazy on X and probably on TikTok too about, oh, President Trump is spending $200 million in taxpayers' money to build a ballroom, or hey, we can't afford this, but we can afford $200 million from a ballroom? Have they not gone to the White House's website, exactly like all the AIs tell them, and actually read the White House memorandum that states that President Trump is going to cover the $200 million? You can look at the green screen behind me at the little screenshot from it and see that he says that him and private investors will be covering the $200 million, not the American taxpayer. So get your facts straight before you start spreading stuff on the out on social media. Y'all call us spreaders of misinformation? No, it's y'all. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Hit that follow, share, like, subscribe for further content. Come on.
Welcome back. So in this crazy life of Trump and Musk, Trump took a break today to talk about how he just inspected the site of the new ballroom that would be built, compliments of a man known as Donald J. Trump. So speaking about himself in the third person, yet again, a little cuckoo. Anyways, first he says they've been wanting a ballroom in the White House for 100 years. Now it's 150 years. Yada, 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 goes on and talks about he's the only person who can build this ballroom. He knows how, blah, blah, blah. But look here at the bottom. These are the fun projects I do while thinking about the economy, the United States, China, Russia, and lots of other countries, places, and events. It will all be good, maybe even great, depending on who the president of the USA is. So can you just envision this? Trump skipping around a room saying this is where we will put the ballroom while thinking about the economy, the United States, Russia, China, the wars, but great events. I mean, I don't think he has the capacity to think about all of these things at once, much less while skipping around and saying we're going to build a ballroom. Nonetheless, if he's thinking of all of these things going on while the world is in turmoil and he's over here focused on a ballroom, what does that tell you? Now, Trump has already bragged about his renovation of the Oval Office and that everything is 24 karat gold that he did not pay for. And while he's telling people that they need to save money and that the cost of living for every American will rise. Now, it is stated that each president gets $100,000 to redecorate the White House, which I'm sure he's already exceeded with his 24 carats of gold. Now, Trump says that he will fund this edition of the ballroom at the White House. This ballroom will be a duplicate of his ballroom at Mar-a-Lago, and that he will pay for it himself. But he also says, I'm sure people will donate to the cause.
Ask the government for money. I'll fund it, and I'm sure we'll have some donations to it. But it's not an inexpensive thing. It'll cost a lot of money.
This ballroom that he is proposing to build will cost $100 million. Now, I know Trump is anything but generous. He's greedy, and $100 million is a lot of money. He doesn't even pay for his own golfing trips. So here's what I'm thinking. Trump might use some of his money. He might get donations. He's going to get money from the government, U.S. taxpayer dollars, and he's going to do just like he did at the crypto dinner that he held. That was private, but advertised the presidential seal during that dinner while he made millions of dollars. He's going to do this for himself and his own personal gains. I can see him hosting dinners there for his crypto business and all other kinds of things, just like he made the White House a Tesla car show. It's going to benefit him. And he's not afraid to hide it because he's been openly corrupt. Now, although Trump has mentioned moving forward with the ballroom, there is a process. One, it has to get approved through Congress. Any funding has to be approved through Congress. And also any construction to the White House needs to be approved by Congress. Secondly, because it is a national historical site, it has to get approved through the National Park Services. They have to approve any significant impact on the design and the construction of any part of the White House. They have to make sure that it fits the historical context and the character of the White House. So this Versailles, Mar-a-Lago construction that he wants to do, it has to fit and it has to be approved by NPR. Lastly, no brainer, the executive branch would have to approve it, which we already know it would happen, but these two things have to take place first. But it is Trump, and he doesn't really follow the laws, does he? So let's wait and see what happens.
Number two, in the category, yeah, we really need this now. This is by the Washington Post. Ballroom construction at the White House. He's begun tearing out foliage and improving prep work for a major $200 million, 90,000 square foot ballroom project on the South Lawn, aiming to triple event capacity. Because like I said, that's something this country really needs right now, a $200 million ballroom that none of us are ever going to use.